Jai Shri Krishna, everybody. And we will be starting today's Bhagavad Gita class. I send out two charts to everybody. So, I think our main focus will be what is those two charts really mean. Let me tell you, if you ever visit Chinmaya Mission, this BMI chart, Om, V, BMI, OET, and PFT. That chart is always going to be there by the side of Swamiji, who is going to do the discussion on whatever topic at Chinmaya Mission. So this chart is kind of a backbone of Chinmaya Mission's teaching, and this is where I'm going to be taking this thing. So I'm going to start with the prayer, uh, which is taken from another Prakran Granth, Vivek Chudamani. Jagadguru Shankaracharya wrote his one of the best Prakran Granth is called Vivek Chudamani. And this is a verse number 3. Durlabham trayam evam devanugraha hetukam manukshatvam mokshatvam mahapurusha sansrayam. What is Jagadguru Shankaracharya saying in this particular verse is to be born as a human being, number one. Number two, burning desire for liberation. And number three, the capacity to surrender to a man of wisdom. These three things are very rare indeed, and it is only found by the grace of Almighty Lord. Similarly, Ramayana has said the same thing. Bade bhag manushya tanu pava sur durlabh sab grantha hi gava. To be born as a human being is a rare occasion. So now today's topic is going to be a logic of spirituality. And let me give you a little background on this thing. Logic in Gujarati is called tarka. So what is tarka? This is something that you postulate and then you argue about it, and that is a tark. So this is the logic of spirituality, is what we are talking about today. In 1993, Swami Chinmayanand, he passed away. He left this mortal world, and prior to Swamiji's leaving this mortal world, in 1990 or 1991, he did a 21 days Gita Jnana Yagna in California, and the CDs are available in Chinmaya Mission. But prior to doing a Gita Jnana Yagna, Swami Chandamayanand felt very strongly that this logic of spirituality needs to be discussed for people to better understand the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Please mute yourself. Do not disturb. Please, humble request. So, what is this logic of spirituality? We know what a spirituality is, and the logic behind the why it should be spiritual. This is basically logic of spirituality. And what Swamiji has said so beautifully in two lectures, I'm going to try to summarize and see if I can finish in one. If not, I might have to go to a second lecture. So, Swamiji has said that this world, this wonderful world of plurality is Vaividya or Vividhata. Every so often I'll put a Gujarati word so at least you understand. This wonderful world of plurality has been at all times a mystery and a wonderment. ગૂઢ રહસ્ય, આ જગત આપણને જે દેખાય છે એ એક ગૂઢ રહસ્ય છે. From the beginning, a caveman to the modern man sitting around all the electronics equipment and still wonders what is the source of this universe? What is happening all around me? This is a question to all of us. Man wants to understand this world. Now, this particular problem, unfortunately, is not into the animal world. Animal never have any question of this kind because of lack of intellect. So, for animals, the science, the philosophy, and religion is of no interest to animals. For animals, this entire world has only a utility value. What is utility? When you feel hungry, you get something to eat. When you feel sleepy, you sleep. When you feel threatened by something, you either fight or flight. And the fourth thing is you reproduce your progeny. So these are the four things very common to animals. The fifth thing that is very specially given to human being is intellect. So this questioning ability in human intellect has brought all the progress from the caveman until the modern man sitting in all the luxuries in the house around us. At one time, Mother Nature was very harsh on us. Cold weather, storms, heat, all kind of problems. Now, man has conquered many of these problems and made the life very comfortable. Now, how did men do this intellectual investigation? So, man, due to his intellectual intelligence, he did what is called observation. What is happening around me, which is an observation. Then he put into a particular codification or codes or codifying the observation. And then the observational analysis in terms of how I can change the present condition. And basically, this is called a science of progress of humanity. Observation, codifying, and analysis. Occasionally, a spark of intuitive knowledge comes from some people. Those are saints, sages, prophets, and people of very high intellectual caliber. But this is an intuitive knowledge. They don't have a scientific background, so they are really not able to prove their knowledge. So, what happened as the time went by, science made a tremendous progress, and the spirituality was kind of left behind. Now, people sometimes ask Swami, people had asked me a question. Swami Chinmaya himself said, people ask me a question, why religion? Why philosophy? Animals don't have it, and they still enjoy life. They eat, drink, be merry, and when the time comes, they die. So, why is something religion for human beings? Swamiji said, I ask you the same question. Why science? Why politics? Why economics? Why, why all these branches that we have in existence? So all these branches developed due to the curiosity to know. When the human intellect wanted to know how to earn money, how to wisely distribute the money, how to spend money, the economics developed. When the man wanted to know how to cure the diseases, the science of medicine developed. So all these various branches, they developed out of human curiosity. Now, the curiosity is sometimes not happening to everybody. We observe so many things, but we really don't. We say, "Oh, that is, that is the way it should be." Just to give you an example, the Newton was sitting under the tree, which we all heard the story, and the apple fell on the head of Newton, and he started asking a question to himself: why did this apple came down on my head? It did not go up or it did not go sideways. This question will never arise to an ordinary people because we say that is how it is. But Newton did not agree. No, there has to be a reason why the apple from the apple tree came down and not went in any other direction. It took 22 years for his curiosity and all kind of scientific research to find the principle of gravity, and that is what we already know. So similarly, astrology, biology, all these branches developed because of the questioning ability of a human intellect. When they started to ask questions, Newton asked himself a question: this apple fell down is an effect. What is the cause of this apple coming down? So, in every question, if you go to the bottom, the main question is cause and effect. Karya, Karana, Sambandh, cause effect relationship. Now, this cause effect relationship, if you look recent 100 to 150 years, in late 90s and early 20s, smallpox, malaria, these were very, very lethal diseases. And the scientists, they were observing, they were looking at the people suffering from this problem. So they were looking at the effect of something that is causing major, major trouble to all human beings, and they wanted to find what is the cause. And the research showed the malaria was caused by a mosquito who is carrying the mosquito germs and spreading the malaria. Later on, they found the quinine, and the malaria has been literally eradicated from the developed world. Same thing for a smallpox. Smallpox virus was identified, the vaccine, a powerful vaccine was developed, and smallpox has been eradicated into the developed world altogether. Similarly, poliomyelitis, so much disabilities we have heard. Only 50 to 70 years ago, many people were disabled because of poliomyelitis. Now, by giving the polio vaccine through oral drops, that disease has been literally eradicated. Now, this is basically evident pratyaksha karan. You see somebody having this thing and you find out so that is basically. Now, this is at an individual level that we are talking about, all this individual suffering. But the spiritual scientists, they also wanted to know about what is this universe, what is the cause of this universe. And that is where they were not able to find the direct method, like something that you can experience through your eyes, ears, something you can smell, something you can touch. So that when the direct methods were not available, they went to an indirect method, with it called, it is not uh, pratyaksha, but this is called paroksha method, indirect method, where you see something and you derive some inference from the finding. Just to give you an example, October 4th, 1957, America wanted to send a man to moon, but not knowing the condition of the moon, they didn't want to take a chance to send somebody and have somebody would die. So they spent unmanned space shuttle called Sputnik, which we all heard. So by sending the Sputnik, they collected all the weather data and every kind of data they can collect from moon. And from that data, they prepared a particular type of dress was manufactured, and the next shuttle went with landing a man on the moon with all the safety precautions that were derived from that Paroksha method provided by the Sputnik. Similarly, the spiritual masters of this Vedic period, they realized that human intellect has a limitation, and everything that human intellect cannot really understand, like what is the cause of this cosmos. And that's when they started asking the questions. What happened in the process of asking questions is a lot of investigation occurred in the direction of cause and effect. What is the cause of this universe that we are seeing? And they came up with 3 laws of causation. We have talked about these 3 laws before, but now we're going to go over one more time. What are these 3 laws? Very simple, very easy to understand, doesn't require any great intellect. The cause number 1, an effect cannot be without a cause. An effect can never be without a cause. That is law number 1. Looking at the ocean, the waves, the bubbles, the froth, the clouds in the sky, these are all various names, various sizes, various shape. So this is an effect of something, and the cause is water. It is nothing but water in a different name and shape. So cause and effect. Ornaments. Ladies are very fond of ornaments. The necklace, earrings, uh, uh, the rings, bracelets, you name it. So many ornaments. So different names, different shape, different sizes, but this is what is the cause of all the ornament? The cause is gold. Similarly, you see pots, you see saucers, you see cups, various names, various uses, various shapes. The cause is clay. So that is the first thing. An effect can never be without a cause. The clouds, the waves, the froth and bubble cannot exist without the presence of water. Now they said, let's move to the law number 2, cause effect law number 2. An effect is nothing but cause itself in a different form. Going back to the same thing. The clouds, the waves, the froth, the bubble, it is nothing but the water in different form. Earrings, bangles, necklace, it is nothing but gold in a different form. So this is number 2. Now, number 3. From the cause, if the effect is removed, nothing remains. If you take out gold from earrings, there is no earrings. If you take out water from waves, there is no waves. If you take out water from bubble, there is no bubble. The water as a substratum, muladhar, the foundation principle of that effect, the muladhar has to be there, which is called substratum. So, substratum has to be there. Now, we learned these three causation factors, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Effect cannot be without a cause. An effect is nothing but the cause itself in a different form. If you remove the effect from if you remove the cause from the effect, nothing remains. Now, let's apply this thing, because remember, we are talking about logic. This is a Tark Shastra, so we have to apply this law of cause and effect into our day-to-day life. Now, this universe, everything around us, all these people on the screen, you go out and you see trees, you see mountains, you river, you see cows, birds, and buffaloes, and you see every kind of plurality outside. So we see all these things. But then what is the cause? And to make it simple, we always say, God is the cause. Religion say, it's the God who made this thing, which makes sense. So religion calls it a God. The spirituality, which is more philosophical aspect, it calls this cause as a reality or truth. Reality is sachai, vastavikta. Truth is satya. Now the student, Swamiji says, gets very excited. He says, okay, you said God made all these things, but who is God? Where is God? Is God a man or a woman? Why did he create? Where is his factory where he's sitting and creating this thing? Very valid question. So in excitement, students start asking the question. Swami say, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. He says, unless your mind is very calm and focused, it cannot think rationally. Right now, our problem is our mind is not very calm and not very focused. That is why we are not able to think. That's what Swami says. So he says, okay, no problem. You ask these questions, where is God? Who is God? Man or woman? Where is his factory? Where is he producing all these things? So it's no problem. Let us go to the law number 2. Let us apply the second law. Effect. Effect is this entire universe is the effect. What we see, what we hear, what we touch, what we smell, what we taste, all these things are effect. So this entire universe is an effect. It is nothing but the cause. The cause is God. It is nothing but the God itself in a different form. This is what the second law says, right? So it is very illogical, tarkhin. It is very illogical and absurd. Earthhin, absurd, earthin. It is very illogical to think that God is sitting somewhere in the clouds, manufacturing and pushing the product into this world. That is not the case. Therefore, the God, without a second, without a doubt, when he created this world, he created this world from himself, because it's a cause. Created the world from himself, entire universe of names and form. He created the mineral world. He created the plant world. He created the bird world. He created the animal world. And he also created humans. Everything that is visible is nothing but God himself, because we are looking at the effect, but we say God is the cause. Same thing as we said before. All these waves, the froth, the bubble, everything is nothing but the water. So everything that we are seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting is all this plurality is nothing but the Supreme Lord only there. Now just think, this God is pervading in everything. He is present in everything, pervading, prasarvu. He is pervading in everything. He is the known cause of this universe right here in everything we are experiencing. He is the democratic Lord. He is no tyrant. कोई अत्याचारी નથી. He created and he set himself in his own creation. Lord is pervading in everything around us, including all of you and myself. And this God is not visible because everything that exists is not visible, not necessarily. We are breathing the air and we don't see the air. This God is a spirit. It's a mighty power. He is present in the unicellular organism. He's present in the saints. He's present in the ordinary people. He's also present in the prophets. He's also present in the Krishna. He's also present in the Jesus. He's also present in Muhammad. Everything and every one of us are enlivened by Lord's presence. Enlivened is called Jivan Shakti. Now again the student is asking, if he's pervading everything and everywhere, where is he? Who is he? Why we can't see him? Swamiji says, relax, let's apply the third law. From the effect, if the cause is removed, nothing remains. So what is that common thing, common element by which we say the plant is alive, the bird is alive, the animal is alive, and we are alive? We have to think about that. This spark of life is common to all of us, and it is this spark, when it is removed, we are wiped out. When this spark, when it's removed from you, me, animal, bird, and plant, when it's removed, they're wiped out. Khalas. Now, it is not our nose, it is not our hand, it is not our ear, it is not our eye, because if somebody has a gangrenous arm, the doctor will amputate, you still survive. So it is not any of these body parts, it is something beyond it. Now, so what is that if it is minused? Baad baki karvi. What is there if it's minus from you? You are rubbed out from this universe. And that is called a life principle. That is called a spirit. It is known by many, many, many names. It's called absolute, something called a purna, absolute, infinite. It is called Atman. It is called Brahman. It is called life principle. It is called Om. It is called pure awareness. It is called pure consciousness. It is called self, spirit, supreme reality, you name it, various names, but it means one thing and only one thing. It is that spark of power within us that we are talking about. It is what is giving us the life. It is like an electricity. Somebody say, show me the electricity. You cannot show the electricity. But electricity is a light in the bulb. It's a cool in the refrigerator, heat in the heater, screen on the television, screen on my computer. Electricity is only one. There is no Chinese electricity, American electricity, Russian electricity, or Indian electricity. It's only one because it is power. Omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. It is very powerful, very bright, and present everywhere. So, this is what we are talking about. So, now we say we are all alive. We all feel that we are living because of that. So now the question is, what is life? Now, there's a Vedantic definition of a life, but if you ask somebody to define the life, it is very difficult to define what is life. Somebody says, it's my money, but that is your income. Somebody says, it's my look, but that is your body appearance. Vedanta say the life is, it is a series of experiences. That is what life. Now, experiences, how does the experience happen? But so અનુભવોની હાર માળા એ જીવન છે. જીવન એ અનુભવોની હાર માળા છે, series of experiences. Now, that spark of divinity, the spark of power, our rishis in their meditation, they came up with this name Om. So what is this Om? We have to try to prove, but they came up with this name called Om. Now, similarly, they say when you are studying the mathematic and there is a question, what is it? So they say, let's start with X. X equal to, and then equal to, then we go all the way to find out what it is. In science, it says gamma or beta. So what we are trying to find is what this Om is. Again, going back to the Vedantic. So Om is a prameya. Prameya is something that we are trying to find out. Prameya, an object of knowledge, what we are trying to. Who is Pramata? I want to know what is Om. So I am the Pramata. What is a Praman? By what method or what proof I can find out about the Om? Since we cannot know Om by Pratyaksh method or Paroksh method, because Om, as we have said, so Nirgun, Nirakar, Nirvikalpa, all kind of things we have known about the Om. So they say, all right, a patient goes to a doctor and the doctor has to make diagnosis. So he will have to know what are the symptoms of the disease before the diagnosis could be made. So we have this Om in front of us. We are trying to figure out what Om is. So the doctor is trying to find what this patient has, the symptoms or the expression of his disease. The patient's disease has to express in certain way. Somebody says, I'm having a fever, I'm having a weakness, my fever comes every other day. So now you're talking about the symptoms, and doctor, that sounds like a malaria. See? So now, since we don't know what the Om is all about, we have to find out what kind of symptoms does this Om present. So the life in me is life is in the whole world. Now, this Om is expressed in this whole universe by three equipment. I'll go back one more time to this electricity. We don't know what the electricity is, but we say, when I look in the bulb, there is a light. So the electricity is expressing as a light in the bulb, expressing as a cool in the refrigerator, expressing as a heater in the heat, expressing as an air mover in the fan. We don't know what electricity is, but we know the expression. So for expression, you need the equipment of expression. For every experience, the only three equipments that are available to us is body, mind, and intellect. There is no other equipment available for the expression of Om. Now, how does this Om express? Let's look at the mineral world, the mountain and mineral world. So, in the mineral world, it only has a body, it does not have mind or intellect. Going higher in the evolution, let's look at the plant world. So the plant world has a body, minimum developed mind, no intellect. Certain flower, Suryamukhi, wherever the sun goes, it moves. Certain plant, when the sunlight comes, they open up. So this is very primitive mind, but no intellects. Moving to the birds, the other evolution. The birds have a body, they have a mind, and a very limited intellect. They fly from one place to the next place depending on the seasons. But we have a very limited intellect. Comes the animal kingdom, the same thing. They have a body, they have a mind, and a limited intellect. It is only the human being who has a fully developed body, mind, and intellect. All these three equipments are fully developed in the human being by grace of Almighty Lord. So, as a human being with a fully developed mind, we are able to judge. We are able to have a Vivek Shakti. Our ability to discriminate is only because of our intellect. What is right, what is wrong, what is perishable, what is imperishable. This is all dictated by our intellect, discriminative intellect, which only human beings possess. Man knows what to do, what not to do, and what to do differently. The entire progress of a human being from the caveman to this modern science with all the amenities around us has been the result of man's intellectual abilities. The birds, they were constructing the nest 1,000 years ago. Today, they construct the same nest. Animals, they live under the same conditions. It is only human being who has moved from the caveman to the most luxurious environment you can think of. Now, we say the Om is expressing through the BMI. So let us see what this BMI is all about. Body, mind, and intellect is made up of matter. Remember, we said Om. Om is spirit. Om is a power. This is a matter. So, body, mind, and intellect is made up of matter, calcium, phosphorus, all those things. Body, mind also has some is gross, which is visible, some is subtle, not visible, but definitely there. So, body is gross, mind and intellect are subtle. But both the gross and subtle are inert, nirjiv. They don't have the sentiency. But we are sajiv, we are sentient, we are conscious, sabhan. Where do we get this consciousness or sabhanata? Like a car. Car cannot move unless you put a gasoline. All the parts of the car, the belt, the wheels and tires and everything is there, will not move unless you put the gasoline. Gasoline is the power, car has all the equipment, cannot move. Electricity cannot do anything unless it's connected to equipment. So there must be something behind this body, mind, intellect to make it sentient or sajiv. Very easy to understand. I think this is not a big theory. Just as a bulb gives light by grace of electricity, we are functioning by grace of this spark of light, the spirit or the Om within us. Equipments are many, but the power is only one. As we said, electricity and so many equipments, it can make it function. Om is one, but it can make function plants, the birds, the animals, the human being, everything else. If this sentient principle is not there, the bird cannot fly or chirp, the dog cannot bark, I cannot talk to you on the screen. It is this mighty presence in me that is allowing me to see you and talk to you. So now let us see what does this Om do to these three equipments. So at the body level, when Om, the consciousness, when expressing through the body, and body has what? Spare parts called sense organs, 5 sense organs. So when the Om is working or expressing through the body, through the sense organs, we are called the perceiver. We are the perceiver. અનુભવિતા, અનુભવ મેળવનાર. આંખોથી અનુભવ મેળવો, કાનથી અનુભવ મેળવો, ચામડીથી અનુભવ મેળવો, સ્મેલથી અનુભવ. So we are called perceiver. And body and intellect, they come together. Now, body and Om. Om working through the body, we are perceiver. Om or the consciousness functioning through the mind. Mind is a seat of emotions. So when Om is functioning through the mind, we are psychological I. Om functioning through the body, we are physical I. Why physical I? I'm brown. Somebody say I'm black. Somebody say I'm white. Somebody say I'm tall. Somebody say I'm handsome. Somebody say I'm ugly. It's body. Om functioning through the body is a physical personality. Om working through the mind is psychological personality, because mind is a seat of emotions. And that I is called the feeler. I feel it. What do you feel? Emotions, the love, the hate, the jealousy, the greed, all these things is felt by mind through the power of Om, and that is what it is. Now, when the same Om or the consciousness is functioning through the intellect, intellect is a seat of values, not emotions, values, thinking. It's a thinker. So now this person is called intellectual personality, or he's a thinker, or vicharshil vyakti, chintak. That is what this person is called. But who is this person? Remember, the body plus consciousness. So who is the feeler? Mind plus the consciousness. Who is the thinker? Intellect plus the consciousness. So this is the marriage of the two. So basically, the perceiver, the feeler, and thinker is Jivatma. It's not a pure consciousness. It is conditioned by the equipment. And this is who we all are. Is I am a perceiver when I express my truth, when I uh, talk about my body, because I say I'm Indian. That's a perception. That is intellect. That is the Om representing through my body. I said I'm stressed. Om representing through my mind. I said I'm smart. Om representing through my intellect. So perceiver, feeler, and thinker, and this is basically our autobiography. This is who we are. We are perceiver, thinker, and perceiver, feeler, and thinker. Now, remember, body. I had sent you the chart. On top is Om. V is a V. There is a V. We are going to put the V on the side. But then below this, BMI, body, mind, intellect. What are those? Those are the equipments. Body, mind, intellect are the equipments. Then the PFT, perceiver, feeler, and thinker. That is the next line if you look into that chart. Perceiver, feeler, and thinker is who? This Jivatma. When I identify with the body, I'm a perceiver. When I identify with the mind, I'm a feeler. When I identify with the intellect, I'm a thinker. So, perceiver, feeler, and thinker is Jivatma. Now, the next question is, where does this perceiver, where does this body, through the body, I perceive, but what is my field of perception? Where do I get all this kshetra? What is my field? So for body, you have 5 sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So the field is objects of the world. All the objects of the world. So where does the body get this stimuli? From outer world. The objects of the outer world, they send signal to your body through your eyes. They send signals through your ears, what we hear. They send signal through your skin, what we touch. Send signal through your nose, what we smell, and signal through your mouth, what we taste. So that is a world of objects. So if you look under the body, then perceiver, underneath is objects. Now go to the mind. Mind, feeler, and ise, OE, emotions, because mind is a seat of emotions. So the field of mind is all emotions. The third one is intellect. Intellect, you are a thinker, Viveki thinker, not ordinary, Viveki thinker. So you are a thinker. You think values, you think honesty, integrity, the morality. This high value thinking is so that is T. So BMI, the equipment of expression. OET, the perceiver and feeler and thinker, that's me. And then, PFT is a perceiver, feeler, and thinker, that's me, the Jivatma. OET, objects, emotion, and thought, is the field from where I perceive these messages. So in short, let's do one more thing. Body, mind, intellect, they are the equipment of expression. I think we made it very clear. They are the equipment, right? OET represents, that is a totally bottom line, not the middle line. OET represents the field from where I get the messages, object of the word, the emotions, and the thing. PFT is the individual, the Jivatma. That's a conscious ego. Why ego? Because this is the Om connected with the body is an ego perceiver. Om connected with the mind is an ego feeler. Om connected with the intellect is ego thinker. Little hard, but try to digest this thing. The perceiver is physical me. I'll say, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm black, I'm brown. The feeler is a psychological me. One is physical personality. The feeler is a psychological personality, loving, hoping, stressed. Thinker is intellectual personality, honest, moral, dishonest, all these things. Now, let us make a statement. If I say, I am seeing with my eyes, then you are a Jivatma. Then you are bound. You are not liberated. Why? Because you see, your eyes are seeing. So that is, you are liberated. You are at lower eye level. You are at Vyavharik eye level. You are not at the real eye level. I'll make the same statement again. I say, I see through my eyes. Which eye? That Om, the pure consciousness sitting within me, says, I see it through my eyes. Through is the equipment. I see through my eyes. You are liberated. I see it, you are bound. My eyes see it. My eyes see it, you are bound because you think I is the one that is seeing. If the person is seeing with his eyes, then what he will do is when he goes to work, he will take one eye and put it in the table to make sure he's watching the wife. She's not doing anything because that eye is seeing. That eye is not connected to home. That eye can't see. Similarly, if somebody is blind, you remove the eye from another person and put it in. That eye, when you remove, is not able to see. You see what I'm saying? Eye transplant. That eye, when it is connected to the optic nerve is the connection of that eye that is removed from cadaver, put in a new person, and connection, that is a connection to Om. That is that line, optic nerve carries all these messages to the brain, and that Om sitting in everywhere is illuminating now the vision through the eye. So that is basically, so the PFT is individualized ego. It is Om identified with body, mind, and intellect. Remember, it is Vyavharik I. It is not the real I, because now real I is Om. Without Om, OET cannot function. That's why it's real. Who is the most important thing? Om is important. OET is not important. Om can function without OET, but OET cannot, BMI cannot function without Om. Now we are Jivatma. We are identified ourselves as Jivatma. Now the PFT, perceiver, feeler, and thinker, that is me, ego, physical, mental, and an intellectual personality. What is the goal in the life? This PFT or the Jivatma is trying to get the total happiness and a permanent happiness. But what is available to this Jivatma to get the happiness? OET. All the objects, emotion, and thoughts, that is all that is available to Jivatma. So it goes this. So this Jivatma uses his body mind equipment, runs to the objects of the world trying to get the happiness. Gets the PFT, perceiver, feeler, and thinker is Jivatma, the middle one. Through his body, mind, intellect, goes after the world of objects, emotions, and thought to get the total happiness. Very, I hope it's clear to you. Now the problem is body, mind, intellect, they are conditioned by time. Our body is coming into the existence at birth and goes away at death. And then it goes through those six vikara, remember? Existence, birth, growth, decay, and death. So it changes with the time. So that's body. Mind. Somebody says, oh, I love this girl before, but I hate her. Same mind, same person's mind. One time he loved and now he's hating. Change of time. So where can you find the, and you want a permanent happiness, you want eternal happiness. Same thing is intellectual. People say, this mathematical problems I was not able to solve, but now I can solve it. He was too young to solve the problem. Now he's grown up. Now he can solve the problem. So basically, what I'm saying is the objects, emotions, and thoughts, they are time bound. And we want permanent happiness. We can never get permanent happiness from impermanent objects. Very simple. Very simple. So now somebody said, but I still want to get happiness. Now, basically, Vedanta says once, so how can we get the total and permanent happiness from the impermanent OET and BMI? Our body, mind, intellect is also not permanent. Objects of the worlds are not permanent. Emotions are not permanent. And thoughts are not permanent. They are constantly changing. So you cannot get continuous, unchanging, eternal happiness from the changing body, mind, intellect, or changing objects, emotions, and thought. Vedanta says we are suffering due to our ignorance. We are very good in analysis of the world objects, but we never paid attention, close attention to the inner world. As long as I'm identified with body, mind, and intellect, I am in the realm of OET. હું શરીર, મન, બુદ્ધિથી જગતના પદાર્થો, જગતના ભાવો અને વિચારોના ક્ષેત્રની અંદર જ ફર્યા કરીશ. If I want a changeless, a permanent happiness, I must go beyond body, mind, intellect, because these are impermanent. And we know that something is making this body function. We already found out it is that Om, it is that consciousness that makes this body function. So if we want, and that Om is eternal, unchanging, nirvikar, it doesn't have modification. So he says, to find a permanent happiness, we have to go beyond BMI. And that is when we say, all right, I'm going to sit for meditation, right? I'm going to cut down all my thoughts. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to go into a private room. There is no noise, so my ears won't hear anything. I'm going to sit in a place where I'm not going to be disturbed. So now you go for meditation. So to find permanent happiness, a Jivatma says, I want to go beyond BMI. Beyond BMI is you identify yourself with the Om, and for that, you go for meditation. So I'm going to end it right here for one reason, because I thought I'll be able to finish, but I think more interesting things are coming. Now, what happens when you sit for meditation, and why is this BMI not in our control. We think this body mind is in my control. I am the master of the body mind, but in a way, we are the slaves of this body mind intellect. So that part of the discussion, I'm going to leave it for next week because this is going to take another 45 minutes to an hour. So let us do it. If you have any questions, I think we can discuss now. Please ask questions. I hope I didn't make it very, very confused. I tried to simplify as much as I could, but anybody has any question?
Ishwar Bhai, I have a question.
Yes, Viju.
So last time Kanchan Bhai said, right, that there is no death mentioned. So whenever conscience or our soul leaves our body,
Mhm.
so does that mean that the, the the subtle body and the causal body, these two will eventually what you have to exhaust your karmas, but they just disintegrate?
Okay, we all know what happens to our physical body, right?
No, physical body we know, yeah. The other two,
Physical
because I'm
body
just thinking all these yeah,
goes to
Attabada being
funeral home cremation, right?
right. Yes.
All right. Now, this thing comes into the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, but I'll tell you very clearly, and this is going to be the whole topic. Our subtle body, and subtle body is also called antahkarana. This physical body is called a bahyakaran, outer equipment. Subtle body is called antahkaran or inner equipment. So the physical body lays here. The subtle body has four parts: the mind, intellect, ego, and chitta. Now, chitta is where all your memories are stored. Your karma, chitta is also called a karmic load or 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 sanchit karma, and that is at the subconscious level or at the subtle body level. And and Krishna has told very nicely, with the breeze of wind, the flower remains there, but this fragrance moves on. So basically, our subtle body with all the impurities, because we are born and again because of one reason: karma. What is karma? Karma is nothing but chittamala, and that is nothing but a vasana. So the subtle body is what puts her into a cycle of death and birth again and again. If we want to be totally free, we have to really destroy our sanchita karma completely. We have to wipe it out. Now remember, how did we get this sanchit karma? I'm going a little bit. The sanchit karma is created. Sanchit karma is created by us doing a selfish work in this world, because I think
Mm.
I'm Ishwar. So I do everything to please me. I don't care if I displease Viju or anyone else. That is
Mm.
called selfish actions. All those selfish actions are your sanchit karma, and that sanchit karma is bring you into the cycle of death and birth. So the purpose of the life is really, the initial purpose is to be happy, and that to happy forever. But the ultimate goal is moksha or a liberation. And liberation means zero sanchit karma, liberation means zero vasana. So this is something that we are going to discuss next time. I hope I'm making it clear.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you do.
That causal body, they say causal body is a reason for, I think we learn in Tattva Buddha, our causal body. Causal is a cause, right? It is a cause
Mm.
for subtle and sukshma body. That's why it's called causal. Now, what is a causal? Causal body is nirvikar. You cannot see it, you cannot feel it. It is ignorance. Causal body is our ignorance. We are ignorant that
Mm.
about our true self. And so when we are ignorant, causal body, when we are ignorant, we do selfish karma. That karma brings us into the this life and death cycle. See the whole cycle now? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
This will be a little bit more clarified because something about the Vasana that Jagadguru Shankaracharya in Vivek Chudamani has given this detail on Vasana in six verses, which I'll talk to you. Incidentally, before I forget, let me mention this Saturday, starting this Saturday in Manasa Mandir, there is the Astavakra Gita Pravachan by Swamiji. And I started reading Astavakra Gita a month ago, and I have finished about 75 to 80% this week, and I'll try to finish.
Mm.
But one thing, if you ever read this Astavakra Gita, one word that is used maximum is vasana. This vasana
Mm.
word, I was amazed how often this word is used in this Astavakra Gita. Now, Astavakra Gita is very highly philosophical. This is the knowledge that was given to King Janak by his guru Astavakra.
Mm. Mm.
This is a dialogue, it's an entire dialogue between Astavakra and Janak. It has totally different verses from than the verses in Bhagavad Gita. So if you get a chance, try to attend this
Mm-hmm.
the katha that is starting this Saturday, and you will really get a lot of information that we are just discussing. A lot of these things will be made clear, and next week we will carry from where? Remember, going beyond BMI in meditation. Why are
Mm-hmm.
we not successful in our meditation? That is what we're going to start with. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Jai
Okay.
Shri
Jai
Krishna.
Shri
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri
Om
Krishna. Jai Shri
Sahana
Krishna.
Bhavatu. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam
Amen.
Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om
Om
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti.
Jai
Jai
Shri
Shri
Krishna.
Krishna.
Jai Shri
Now,
Jai
Krishna.
Shri
before I
Krishna.
forget, next week I will not be taking the class. I will be attending Astavakra Gita. Sorry about
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
So
No, we will all try to join.
it will be
Yeah.
2 weeks from now. My fault. Next week I'll
Hmm.
be attending
Yes.
Swami Astavakra Gita. Jai Shri Krishna
Very
and
good.
Jai Shri
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
all right.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.